Hey friends, hey, happy Saturday afternoon. Hey everybody, hello. Hey, this is Cheryl, Mama P with Mama P's Crafty Creations, coming to you as part of the Crafty Bunch pop-up event today. And I am at the table, and I think it's kind of funny but painfully true that today our theme is doing something for your sweetest, because Sweetest Day is coming up next week. And our event is themed around doing something nice or making a gift for your sweetest. And I was sitting here and I thought of all these great things, some good treats I could make in the kitchen, some fun things I could do. But honestly, the sweetest thing I could do for my family would be to clear some projects off the table. And that's a sad but true statement. Hey, Miss Sue, welcome. And so today that's what we're going to do. I have got more projects, half done, 3/4 done, barely started. Hey, Cheryl, my friend. Hey, Patty, hello. So we're going to finish some projects up today. And that is absolutely, hey, Diane, probably the sweetest thing I can do for the people I love the most. Because my crafting has taken over. Let me just tell you, it has taken over everywhere. Hey, 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 come on in. So I'm sitting here honestly, with 10 projects within hand's reach. So if I could give each one 6 minutes and finish them, we could clear the table because I have an hour with you today. But honestly, if we can get one, we'll be well on our way. So that's what we're going to do. So the first project, hey, Carrie, that I have pulled out, you remember, hang on just a second, let me grab part one. You remember last week we started this really cool journal. Let me tilt you down just a hair and hopefully not throw you right out the room. We started this cool journal last week, right? And it's a classic junk journal. We used stuff out of my ephemera collection that I got. Hey, guys, hey. And so we started this journal. It has the fall printable in it, and it also has the great antique documents. Thank you so much, Angie. Miss Angie is up next. The Crafty Bunch by Rustic Daisies. She'll be coming in. Hey, Becca. So we started this one, and when I started this one, I had a plan in my mind, and that was to take, get rid of the strings, the second one that we made, right, because we had 2 covers. Hey, Missy, and I want to turn this one into an art journal. So I put some eyelets and holes in it, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to turn this one into an art journal, and then we will try to see about working on the other one and see what we can get done. So that is my plan. What are you guys doing today? Tell me what you're doing today. I went to Target. I never go to Target. We live in a town where everybody likes to go to Target. Thank you, Patty. I love it because it's tall and we can put some sizable paper in here for an art journal. Hey, Linda. And I never go to Target, but I went today and that's enough. And now I'm done. See, I probably have to go back for another year. So that's okay, right? So what I did is, you remember I had these bits of these panels of fabric. I don't know what they are. There was just 2 of them. They were in my fabric stash. I put liners in them, so I took them apart and I put in some chipboard liner, different things that I had to stiffen them up a little bit. We sewed in our 2 signatures for our journal. This thing is hefty, y'all. And this one, I ran some eyelets. I don't do eyelets very often, but for this, I really thought we needed them. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a traveler's journal style. Oh my gosh, rock, are you kidding? Wow, you should be wore out. Dried mangoes, 5 stores. You would have to go to 5 stores to find those sometimes. But we're going to use, I think they call it a slip spine. I use it when I do my traveler's notebooks. I want to be able to pull the papers out and work on them. Okay, so I've mounted some eyelets in, 2 that are as far apart as I can get them for papers, and then 2 that are closer together, and we are going to sew in a zipper pouch so that you could have some basic art supplies at the handy. Now, another one of my unfinished projects laying over here, hey, Debbie Fritz, is a project using several of these, and we're going to make an ephemera holder. So, you know, here we go. Oh, Linda, I'm so sorry it's frozen. Try going back and coming back in. I had that trouble the other day. I don't have any idea what's going on. I hope it's not frozen for anybody else. If it is, keep telling me. Okay, so I've got my elastic cording. Thank you, Debbie. I buy mine, I don't know. I think this is from Hobby Lobby. I like the stuff that is circular. Sometimes you find this, hey, Deborah, in the leather work department there. And it's just the one I prefer. I probably prefer it because I have it, to tell you the truth. Hey, Debbie. So to tie it in, we really only need 2 links and a little. So I'm just going to cut us a section here. And let's go ahead and run the elastic in for our journaling pages. And then we'll do that. So I'm just going from the inside to the outside using my eyelets here, which makes this so much easier. And then we just tie it. I mean, I thought about doing this before I got on because it is a pretty simple process. I know, Patty, I know rock hounding, is that climbing on rocks? Is that collecting rocks? Because I used to collect rocks as a kid. And if there was a name for that hobby, I could qualify. Okay, so I'm just running a piece of elastic through my long eyelet section here and making it snug enough to hold in pages, but not so snug that it will tear those pages up, okay? And then I've been playing with ways to sew these bags in. I ordered them on Amazon in bulk, and you can see here that they're a clear, which I really appreciate, especially if we're going to use them to store ephemera, which was my starting plan for these. But they also have the ribbing in here. And so I've been just sewing them in, and I'll show you how, and they've been holding really well. So I'm hopeful that that will work for us today as well. Now, you could use elastic for this. This is really a spot where anything at all will work. Anything you can put your hands on, for that matter, will work. I was looking for the white cord that we had, that we used on the other book, and honestly, I have such long tails on the book, I'm going to steal a piece off of that. Okay, and I only did 2 holes for this as well, and I think that's going to be sufficient. So I hope you can see. My angle's a little weird for me, but I went ahead and I ran eyelets, what would be close to the top and the bottom. Good afternoon. And I'm just going to go from the inside of my bag out and through and then back in, and I'm going to tie my knot inside the bag, and I've got plenty of string for that. So I was kind of excited about this whole idea of being able to use these zippered pouches. Hey, Linda, because I really like organizers. I love organizers. I should be much more good at using them. That would be great in my life. Okay, so let me just make sure I leave a long enough tail here and pull my other string through. And so now, hey, I'm so glad you're here. I'm just going to line it up so that I can see where I want to come back through my little bag at. And hang on just a minute. It's not anything other than my fingers. And so I'm just poking then back through my bag. And these little plastic grids with the threads keeps it out from shredding or pulling apart. Okay, let me grab this string because I've about pulled it all the way through. And then I'm just going to pull this one through. Let me put my little needle right back here because I lose it. And then we can just tie this in like we would anything else. And it will hold our little zippered pouch here. Hey, Miss Pat, how are you today? Just where we want it. So they're flexible. I've been loving them. I've been playing with them quite a bit. And I'm anxious to use them in several things. I know it's not traditional junk journal stuff, but it is it is good for Mama P style. So here we just have our long thread here next to, and then inside our book we have attached our little, oh my gosh, welcome, welcome for the first time. So glad you are here. I hope you enjoy it and that you'll come back often. Okay, so I'm just gonna tie that thread there, and it's just in a knot and down in our pouch, and then we can just zip that up. And this pouch would be perfect for holding whatever. Oh, you found out. Then you're a rock hounder too. Ha. I gotta find out too. If Hounding Rocks was collecting them, that would be me. Okay, so my elastic cord, I'm just gonna trim it off. And then we can decide what kind of paper we want to put in there. Hey, Tammy, how are you today? Come on in, come on in. I have stopped for a long time doing my little intro, but let me tell you, Mama P's place is about 4 things. We cook, not near as often as I should. We craft a whole lot. We chat, and we build a community. So we are always welcomed for new members in our community. So I'm so glad you're here. Okay, I have my watercolor paper. I buy this watercolor paper at Five Below. If you have one near you, it is a preteen girl's dream store. That's what it is. But their art supplies are pretty good, and I've been happy with them, and I love their watercolor paper. It's not artist grade, but neither am I. So I am okay with it not being artist grade. And I love to include watercolor weight paper in my journals, whether they are an art journal like this is, or a sketchbook or a doodle project, or if it's one of my regular journals, because I think a lot of us, when we're using our journals, we like to doodle. I mean, we're kind of creative types, right? So my thought is we will slide in, I think we'll try 4 because it's pretty thick. And that's really 8 because it's going to be doubled over, and we'll see how that fits. So it's all on a spiral bound. Sorry, I know my table's shaking. Our table could use some strengthening up. It takes a lot of abuse around here, but that's okay. So I'm just going to pull out some sheets of watercolor paper. If you have never used watercolor paper, I really like it for a lot of things. It is really heavyweight, 300. I know, it is chilly and dreary here today. Makes you want to drink hot chocolate or hot tea all day. And this particular pad is 9" by 12", but at my Five Below, hey Mindy, they have them in all sizes, from like 5x7 all the way up to great big paper size. So that's just a hint. If you don't have a preteen girl that has drug you to Five Below before, make a side trip there one day and just look at their papers, and they have lots of like watercolor paints and all kinds of markers. And like you said, I'm no artist, I'm a crafter, so it works great for me. So there's 4 sheets of that, and this particular piece of paper, fabric is about a little over 13 inches, so we can use the entirety of a 12-inch piece of our paper here. Let me set that thread out of the way. And then I was just sitting here thinking about if I was going, you have bought it too, Tammy? I've always been really happy with it. That if I was going to have this, if it was going to be mine and it was a grab and go type thing, I would also like to be able to write in it. Now this is too wide, but this is just a Dollar Tree notebook that I had covered the covers on. And I thought that it would make kind of we could snatch pages out of one of these is what I'm thinking, and trim them down to fit in here, and we could make some writing pages too. So I have that pulled out. And then I grabbed some of my beautiful old music because I love old music. I just really, really do. And to me, this is Bach music here, and I love the yellowed color of it. I would draw on this, I would doodle on this, I would write over this. You could coat it with some gesso. I have my gesso here on the table, but if you're not familiar with that, gesso is just a protective coating that turns any kind of regular paper into art paper. It's the easiest way I know. Artists use it to prime their canvases. Then, do you remember this? It was inside one of the diplomas. And right there we caught it. Look at the cool texture and sheen on this. This has nothing to do with the art part of it, but it is just so beautiful. And look how transparent it is. And I thought it would be fun in here. Could you art doodle on it? Yeah, you sure could. But I just think it's gorgeous. And so I thought it would be fun to tuck in. And then out of my, big collection of paper, I grabbed, this is the Bach. This is the one we actually have some out of. And there's other music. And then remember when we were going through the ephemera, we had this, it's a graduation list from a university, but I love just the columns. Hey, Miss Christy from My Artful Adventures. How are you, my friends? Welcome. And I thought we might just snatch a page out of there. I don't know. It doesn't matter what we put in here. All of these ideas are mainly for their doodle ability. Something that you would look at and then create something else on top of or around of. Hey, Miss Dolores, how are you? So let's see. I love these kind of a spine because you can be so flexible. Now this paper has been folded like this. Oh, good, you got it. You got it. Yay. And I like it, and I think it would fit this way, but I gotta tell you, I'm real tempted to open it a little bit. I think we're gonna fold it the other way. I think we will. I don't know. That's the joy of this kind of a spine, because we're gonna slide these pages in, and if we don't like it, we can just rearrange. And I really like that. And then we're just gonna take our pieces. Now this stuff is really kind of tough. And so to get a nice bend on it, thank you, Jennifer. Using a ruler will really help you to get it kind of straight. So just kind of lay it down to get a crease started, and then give it a fold. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. This one is not. You can see a little bit off. That's okay. For me, it's okay. If it's not okay for you, then measure. Or use your score, whatever you use as a scoring tool, and you can run a score line down it in the middle. Okay? All right, so let's get these. So I'm just gonna kind of ease them in. You hold your ruler down really tight against the paper and then kind of fold against it until you get a crease. This is an easy way to get a score mark if you don't have a scoreboard, or like me, if it's, well, it's sitting right here. I guess I could use it. But if you don't have it handy, and I'm just eyeballing what's about midway, I'm okay with that. Okay, so I'm just creasing it up against the edge of my ruler. It's also a great trick if you're using old paper, because it helps it not to just crack in two. You know, some of that older paper is so fragile that doing this will prevent you from having two pieces when you're done. Hey, Miss Linda Brown, how are you? Okay, so let's see. See, that one's nowhere close to in half, but that's okay. All right, so we have 4 pieces of that, 2 pieces of music, a piece of this, and our fun little, I don't even know, I love this stuff. It's gorgeous. So I'm gonna put this on the outside just because I think it'll be so pretty. And then a piece of my watercolor paper, and then a piece of music, and a watercolor paper, and then our names list, watercolor paper, music, and then the other watercolor paper. Okay, so we've just kind of stacked a variety of pages in, and then we just slip it underneath this elastic band. Now, I love this style for all kinds of books, guys, and it does really work pretty good for any kind of journal, especially, now this one doesn't have the hardest cover, if you have, see, because it's pretty flexible. If you had a really firm cover, I mean, you could really tie those in there super tight and hold them in there. But if I'm doing this kind of an art journal, doodle, creative thing, I really like to be able to take the paper out. So if I'm ready to work on this page, maybe I want to do not just half, but whole. The beauty is that I can slide it out and work on it, let it dry, and then slide it back in. And I can also add to it. So if I create on something different, then I can create my artistic thing. I wish I was artistic. my crafty thing. And then I could put it in. And then I've got this little pouch for my tools, right? A little tiny set of watercolors would fit in here. A couple of water pens would fit in here with it. You could do some markers, some drawing pencils, whatever it is. Thank you, Carrie. I want to be more consistently creative, which means I've got to learn to take things with me. And I get overwhelmed. Do you guys, if I go to sit down, now I am a comfortable crafter. I can sit down here with a journal or something and I can create and be satisfied. But when I sit down to do something that maybe I'm not quite so comfortable with, I can get overwhelmed with the enormity of the ideas or the supplies. So if I had something like this and it just had a few pencils, maybe this would be a great idea for Christmas gifts. Absolutely. I really get overwhelmed. But if I had just something like this that just had, I am clipping the strings out of here so I can steal some paper. Never mind me while I fiddle and piddle. And I just had a seam ripper in my hand a few minutes ago, but you know, I don't see it now. So I want to keep these in their big sheets. So it is just stitched all the way down the spine, these little, do you too? Yeah, so these are just these little notebooks from the Dollar Tree. They are just stitched all the way down like with the sewing machine. And so if you pull out a couple of sheets, which I stole for something else, it leaves you enough room to get in there and just get those threads pulled out. Sorry, the table's gonna shake again. So if I wanted to be more consistently creative in like an art journal, I would do much better if I just had a few little pieces, maybe a drawing pencil, maybe a pen, one thin line pen to go over my simple pencil drawings, a small either watercolor tray or a few watercolor markers and a water pen. You know, just a few objects, a glue stick maybe, because you know, we've always got some paper if we wanted to glue in to it. I never dreamed this part would take longer than the other. Thank you guys for being patient while I clip little bitty threads. Anyway, I think I would be more consistent with it because I would just have a few little things and I would sit down and create with those few little things. And then, you know, I could go about my way and I could take it with me. This one is kind of long and tall, but you could certainly have this in your tote bag or whatever, and then I wouldn't have to be at my desk or any certain restrictions or anything, just wherever I was. Okay, I think I got it enough where I can sneak these pages out. So I'm running my finger underneath them and that'll make sure the threads. So now I just have some journaling paper. All of that for a few sheets of journaling paper that I can just slip right in here in the middle because it has this removable paper thing, right? I just need to get them in here. So let me see. Oh, look, they fit. They fit because here's my spine that I already folded over here. So how cool is that? So that quick and easy, 20 minutes. We have our little pouch sewn in where we can keep just a few art tools. We have some inspirational papers. We have some places we can draw and doodle and color, watercolor paper, and some journaling pages just sitting there in the middle in case I decide to write, right? In case I decided to write that day. And then let's finish up the cover. They're a little bit too long. So I'm just gonna fold them. Just gonna fold them in. Okay, I don't wanna shorten them because I get kind of wordy. Okay, and so there we have, this is what it would look like from the end. So we've got room in our pouch to fill up and still cover it. And now let's finish up this cover. So I'm gonna open it up. I'm just getting hold of the elements, flattening it out. So I grabbed this. I love this big wide lace here. And my thought was, can you see? I think so. I got so much stuff on the table, you guys. We're at the dig a hole if you want to eat at my table face. That's how bad it's gotten. So I thought we would take our Fabri-Tac, and this panel is the outer flap. And so we could just glue a little bit of lace on here. And then I want to do a button closure, a big old button here. So I'm thinking what we can best do our time here together. And I think I'm going to forego the gluing while we're here on live because it's going to be Fabri-Tac and it's going to try to sneak out from the bottom of the lace. And I want to keep working on it. So my thought is for here is I want to take a big old button and I want to put a big button right here. And underneath that button, I want to sew a loop. Hey, Linda, an elastic loop that you can just feed over the whole thing to close it. Okay, so I have this little tray of buttons here, along with some really pretty blingy old jewelry. But in here, there was this button, and it's, hey Dana, it's got a little bit of a green hue. Maybe if I lay it here on the, can you see it? It's kind of a blue-green. This one has definitely got a green tinge to it, which I really liked. This is also a great place, thank you, Deborah, to use like a pin. You know, I'm really tempted to use this pin. Do you like that pin? I love that pin. I love the buttons too. But I'm really loving this pin. Is that too much? Somebody's got to tell me. But it goes this way. And I think we could just pin it right to the edge. And we could attach our elastic. We're going to give it a try. It's just, you like the pin? I do too, Jennifer. I'm really liking the pin. Okay. All right, let's try it. So I'm just going to take a length of elastic, more of my same cording, and I'm going to tie a very loose knot in it because we're going to have to adjust it. Oh, good, Dana, you like the pin too. All right. And I'm going to undo the pin. We're just going to use it. It's in great shape. Thank you, Missy. Never too much. I love that philosophy. So I'm just taking the knot. Not yet. Not yet. I'm going to take it through. Let me think a minute. We got to figure this out. Let's put this. Okay, so I've got my pin completely through. And then I need to attach my elastic to it. So now, let's put it this way. All right, figure it out as we go, right? I want to put the cord through it on the back side. That's what I want to do. So while the pin is through, I'm going to run it right through my knot. Nothing is glued here, so we can change it if it's not in the right place. But that's not on tight enough. By Saturday afternoon, not only is my brain half tired from the week, but my fingers have forgotten how to work as well. So give me just a minute. Again, I thank you for your patience. There, that's pretty good. And now back up through the lace and the fabric, and then I'm just going to fasten the pin, and that way there's nothing permanent going on here. All right, let's see if that worked at all. So here it is. Can you see? Yeah, here it is from the back side. I've just pinned it and attached that through. So now our pages would come like this. Okay, and then this would be our close. Then this would come over here. This will all be glued down, remember. All right, and then we have our pin right here. And then from this, our elastic would wrap all the way around the book. Oh, it works. And hook on the pin right there. Oh, I love that. That's me. That's got a little bit of me all over it. All right. So now that we have the elastic right, let's go ahead and glue this lace down, and this can set aside and dry. Okay. So we're going to attach it. Okay. I had my clips here handy. Let me clip this thing together so it's not in our way. Thank you, Diane. I think these, somebody mentioned them being a great gift idea. I totally agree. These are a great gift idea. If you have friends that love to create, if you have children or grandchildren that love to create, you can make these simple kind of put together crafty kits, drawing kits for them pretty simply. Okay, my Fabri-Tac was on the table when I started this video because I checked. Yeah, that's why we're clearing the table of projects. There it is, hiding behind the other glue. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and tighten my knot down, and I don't think it needs another one. Now that I tightened it, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna leave these tails in case they ever need to be adjusted, and I'm okay with that. I really am. Those kind of things just don't bother me. Okay, and now we're gonna lay our lace out, and let's just get it glued down. And then this one will be ready to set aside. Okay, I'm gonna put the glue on the lace. That way I can kind of see where there is room on it. Oh, good. I'm glad you like it. It's a simple way to make a closure, but I like it. I really like it. All right. Now let's see if I got yep. Okay. So I'm just running all along where that edge of the lace is. And we're just gonna keep coming on up. So the Crafty Bunch is on today, I think until about 8 o'clock Eastern time. It is a Crafter's Choice event, which means we're not making the same craft. We're just crafting something in celebration of Sweetest Day that is next weekend. So I hope you'll be able to hang around and do some of that. Okay, I'm just gonna do some little swirls of glue where these flowers hit here. And then we will be there. I know, that's how I am, and that's why we get in these predicaments. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I want to do that. And that's a good idea. I want to do that too. And then we do the things, and then the next thing we know, we're digging a hole to eat at my kitchen table. That's okay, right? It's okay. It is okay. It's all right. Okay, so there we go. The lace is now glued down to cover the cover, and it will lay flat here on this back, and then this gives us our beautiful touch. The other thing I consider doing that I may do after it's dry is take a thin piece of lace or ribbon and just tie it here all the way around the cover this way. The reason I thought about it, one, is it would be pretty. The other reason is that it would give us one more slip area here that you could slide something else in, right? So it could be a double, triple, quadruple thing. I grabbed this is my little bin of odd laces, but there's this burgundy in here. You see this? Isn't this a beautiful color? And it goes really well, I think, with the color palette of the fall colors here. And let's see. Let's just see if we like it. Let's pull a little bit off of the realm here. This is why I never get anything done, you guys. It's because I'm like, ooh, I'm going to finish these things off. And then I'm like, ooh, wait, no, we could do this to it and that to it. And the next thing you know, we've started more things and we didn't finish anything. But this was my thought. Is we would get it here and we would go through. So this is our other spine spot here, right? And then we would just bring this colored lace up here and just tie it here. And I'm going to tie it in a knot, and then I may come back and tie it in a pretty bow. But for now, I'm just going to tie it in a knot. Now this will help this edge of our lace stay secure, right? And it does not interfere with our closure at all because it still comes on around. But then when we open, we have this here, and you could use this like another piece of the elastic over here, and you could slide maybe a project that you're working on under here and fold it over. Does that make sense? I can show you what I mean. I know I've got a piece of paper here. Gee, Cheryl, do you have a piece of paper? Let's just say that you had a little notebook. You could take this piece we just tied on, and you can use it like another spot. So just fold your lace over and put it in there. And look, now we've included a whole writing journal because that will just fold over here and hide under. And then our closure just comes around it and holds it all together like that. And I like the touch of color. I do like a hint of color. I usually lean more toward the basic, but I like that. Okay, And there we go. It's ready to sit and dry up. And then we have our beautiful art journal completed. Yes, a completed project. You tuck in a few, like I said, a little tin of watercolors and a couple of water pens in the zipper pouch. Throw in a couple of markers or pencils and a pen where you could draw and then trace over with the pen, which is the easiest way I know to make a watercolor. And I am not an artist, so there you go. So there is our completed art book. Take these clamps off and we're just gonna let it dry up. Yay, one gift for my sweetest family that puts up with my mess. Because it really does get messy. Okay, so let's take a look here. Hang on a second. I'm going to reach across my table and let me show you the ephemera thing I was working on, because it is a work in progress. And let's figure out what we want to do with it next. So this is the same idea. This is a whole cloth quilt. That's what they call it, that I have been working with for a long time. I still have a big piece of it, and I think it's heavy enough to stand up to my idea. And you saw me then sew in the bag on the art journal. This is the exact same idea, but I sewed in 5 bags, and I sewed them in 1 inch apart and with a 3-hole stitch to hold them in super firm. Okay. Then my idea is that we could fill this up with whatever. You're working on a little golden book? Hang on, I'm going back. You can't find my recent live. I worked on that last Monday. Whatever the date was on Monday, I started those, and we will be back to them on Monday because we're going to do mass make Mondays until after craft fair season. So then, same idea. These would all get filled up with goodies. And filled up. Hey, Susan, welcome. So my thought is the ephemera stuff, right? So you've got one for old photos, one for old documents, one for whatever, stickers, whatever you like to put in your books. And then when you're done, you just kind of wrap it up and you have a sweet little ephemera thing. You can hold it. It can go this way and wrap around, however you like it. And that's what I haven't figured out so much. So I got some fabric scraps, great for kids. This would also be a great take it with you in the car thing for kids as well, because what could we do? We could put a few little artsy things in here. You could do a few Legos. What do the kids do in their travel car thing? But that was my thought. So let's work on how we can finish this whole idea up. I saved the edge of the book here. Do you like it, Linda? I need to fill it up and make sure that it's going to be stiff enough and tough enough to do what I want it to do before we finalize it as a project we work on together. But that's where we are with this one. That's taking up more space on my table. So I have some laces. Okay, I thought I grabbed a tub of fabrics. Here they are. This is my little scrappy tub that's always close by. This is the fabric from that single whole cloth quilt that coordinates. But I don't think there's a piece, it's all the scrap in here that really will wrap all the way around it, because it's all bits of the bits and pieces. There's this trim, which is blue, green, and lovely. And then I have this wide lace that might make a great colored pencils, gel pens, perfect. Yes, perfect. And you could have a variety, which is, I really enjoy that. This is the cording edge off of that piece. Okay. All right, we're working a plan. And then I still have some of this beautiful, I ordered the zipper bags from Amazon. I ordered a large selection of them because I wanted to make several projects and then probably some kits. So if you like them, there's something that we will be putting in our upcoming sales for sure. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, so my thought was kind of the same, but I didn't know here, but yeah, they're in Amazon. If you put in, these were pencil pouches because that was the size I wanted for this idea. So there's our organizer. It could stand up. You see that? But that's like 5 inches of standing up. And we could wrap it up like a purse pouch, right? So it would be kind of like this, flipping around. Or we could lay them flat like an accordion, right? And then wrap them this way, which was kind of where I was leaning. And so that gives us, I love this fabric, by the way. This was the prettiest set of bed linens I ever destroyed, in my humble opinion. And my thought is this would make a beautiful pocket here. So if you were going to use like gel pens and pencils like you were talking about, you could make a pocket on either the inside or the outside that you could put, really from Temu. I didn't even think to look there. A pocket that you could put your projects in. So let's try that. Let me grab my scissors, about that much, and tear that across. And then it's just the right size to go from the edge there and close to our back. So let's take our fabric glue and let's glue this down into a pocket. So 3 sides. 3 sides. The little zippered bags were not super expensive. And super handy. I do think they have them at Dollar Tree as well. I believe I've seen them there, of course, in singles, so I don't know. That's all I know about it. All right, and then we'll just glue up here to this edge. Oh, you guys have a dinner plan? I have a roast with potatoes and carrots going in my oven. So I thought about, for my sweetest people, I would make some more cake mix cookies with you guys today, until I realized I had my oven busy cooking a roast for supper. So much for being in the kitchen today. So much for being in the kitchen today. All right. I'm just going to let that kind of fall where it is. Nothing's ever square when you tear it. So I like that. If you don't like it, you might want to work on it a little harder than I did. And then there. I hope you guys are excited. Next week, well, I mean, every day is a fun crafting day, right? But on Monday, we'll be working in our little golden books. I've got 2 elements at least that I want to get prepped to go in them. I think I wound up with 7 little golden books, and I'm going to finish up the covers. Hey, Bronca, how are you? Roasted potatoes and carrots is your comfort food. My family loves it. Actually, my husband loves it. And he reminds me ever so often that it's been a while. I know, and I am so sorry. I cook every day, and usually I don't turn the camera on because I'm ashamed of the way my kitchen looks, and I need to get over that and just turn it on, right? Right. Okay, so we've glued down what would be a sweet little pocket where you could stick your projects in that you're working on, your papers or whatever that is. And I think that would be firm enough just as it is. And then that would fold over here, and this would fold over here. Now, I love this lace. I think this is a Hobby Lobby thing. Chicken parm is one of my favorites. Yum. I love this lace. This is a Hobby Lobby. I wish you could, and you would be more than welcome anytime. I would love that too. This is in the wedding section, the his and hers section, and it comes on a roll. There's tons of it, and I think it's about 5 or 6 inches wide. I have a ruler, but you know, we don't work in details around here. Yep, it's 6 inches wide. It's a great bargain. If you go to your Hobby Lobby, don't miss out on this particular section, the his and hers, because I buy tons of supplies in the wedding department. And I love this because it's nice and wide. My thought is, these are all of my strings that tied in those bags. Isn't it beautiful? And you can get it in white or ivory all the time. And I want to make sure these are really, I mean, they're in there good, but I thought if we glued the lace over them, it would just give them another layer of protection. So let's take a nice long piece of this. And I think it runs about, I don't know, I'm totally guessing. Oh, yeah, that's true. Hospital food is not pleasing. So if you can get something else, yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball kind of the center. You can't see that, I'm stretching it out. And let's just kind of glue this down as a, and then it will be our tie down, but it will also give us some extra protection for this string. And then I think even over the top of those strings, we'll just glue this panel down as just a coordinating piece. I think that makes sense. And that will, yeah, I like that. Never mind, I'm good. I'm good. Hospital food is hard. Okay, so I'm just gonna glue kind of all over this piece here using our coordinating fabric and my Fabri-Tac glue. And we're gonna press this down over all of that stitching, and then it will help the stitching and it will hold our lace down. And we don't have to worry about trying to hit the little bitty spots of this lace because it's pretty transparent. Okay. So there we go. I'm just going to press it in really nice to all of that, all of those tie-ins. See, I just needed you guys here. Hey, Miss Christina, I need you guys here to keep me moving. That's the whole thing, right? And then this would just fold over all of our pockets. And then we have 8 miles of lace. How did you attach? I sewed them in just like I would a book signature. I sure did. It was my first experiment. Like I said, I bought these in bulk from Amazon, and I wanted to make some kits, ephemera holder kits for you guys before the next sale. So I bought a bunch of them, and I've just been trying to find a bunch of ways to use them. I sewed one into the art book we started this video with. I'm sorry, I'm sure that is really noisy. Those little things drive me crazy. And so then this can just be, just have just a little closure right there on there. And I don't mind this on the back if you mind it. You relate? Yeah, Christina, I just sewed them in. I just took my needle, and these I just sewed in with my bookbinding twine, and I just sewed right through the bottom. You just have to kind of open them up and work from the inside out, but it worked. Okay, and so then I'm happy with this, guys. This would be a very functional thing for me. So, ugh, I just smelled the Fabri-Tac. I don't like that. But that suits me okay. That suits me okay. And you could decorate that all you wanted to. You could just go crazy in there, but you certainly wouldn't have to. So be looking if you're interested in an ephemera kit. It would come with a piece of the whole cloth quilt, some coordinating fabric pieces, a big length of lace, and then 5 of the zippered bags. And I'm happy with that. I do still want to fill it up with things and make sure it still holds up, but we left plenty of fabric. So I think even if you did put, you know, bulkier things in there, like pens, pencils, that kind of stuff. Thank you, Linda. I still think you've got tons of room here. Look, we still have tons of room. We still have our pocket. I've got the whole thing upside down currently. That doesn't matter for this. It would normally go that way. And so, whoops, get the needle back out of there. So you've got all of that space to fill up. Hang on, I'm going there. The green beans don't taste nothing. I have learned to adapt most grocery store items so that they're a little more homemade tasting, and I happen to love a canned green bean if I cook it right. Okay, so there's our ephemera holder pouch all done. Here is our art journal that we worked on. I would call those 2 complete. What a relief. What a relief. Okay, what are we going to do next? So let me catch you up. I'm debating while we're sitting here. I don't have... So this journal that we started working on, I really want it to be just right. And I don't have the things pulled out that I want to work on in it. I have a few ideas for the cover, so we could look at that. Let's do that. I keep changing my mind. Yeah, I do. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of these little doilies. So my thing with this journal is I had to make a decision. This is the front, the way I designed it, but you have more of the applique work that's on the fabric on the inside flap, which I'm also perfectly okay with. But that means I want to do something here, right? Gives us some area to decorate and fill in here. So these are some doilies. I have a whole set of them, and I like the way they kind of give the expression of like a flower, and I think they go really pretty well. And then we also need to figure out our closure for this journal. So we're right back to the same. I've got this great big honkin' green button. It's bluish green, and I love that it kind of coordinates with this. So we had this one, and we had this one. So we have big and we have giant. I always lean toward the giant, you guys. I like big things. That sounds weird, doesn't it? And I also have this beautiful trim. Isn't this stuff gorgeous? And so I'm thinking this makes our closure here. So we can decide. I think what we do is we just sew the closure trim. You like the giant one too? Oh, good, Carrie. That we just sew this on, and then we just tie it over here. So we just need to leave enough to tie, and then we can decorate a little bit. Okay, so let me get rid of some of this extra. This trim has been great too. I use a lot of trims. You guys know I have all that old stuff that's new, but it's old stock, and some of it ravels like nobody's business. But this has been great. It has not. So I think my bookbinding needle will even fit through the holes of this one, which I consider a big plus in my world. And let's see what we want to sew it down with. Let me steal the other long tail of our, it's coming really handy. See, we just left it there. The giant button is perfect. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love, obviously, for one, my hands don't work as good as they used to. I don't know if anybody else has that issue, but my hands are not as reliable as they once were. So I just want to make sure that when I go through my button, I'm wiggling and jiggling, that I go through the button and I go through the trim all at once, okay? And then I want to make sure I do the same thing coming back up. So I'm going to drop the button and take a look behind and make sure that my needle comes right back up through. I just unthreaded the button, but that's all right. It's so big. We can just let the thread go through with our fingers and go from there. So there's that. And you could go through and through and through if you wanted to. You could even use a really thin like lace or something really pretty to sew this on, and that would work just fine too. And sometimes, a lot of times what I do, hey Patsy, how are you? Is I will come back later and actually glue something decorative on top of the button when I have my heated glue machine up and going. Okay. We could put these back through if we wanted to attach it even firmer. My thread came unraveled now. I could just trim it off flat. But of course I didn't think about doing that the first time. Okay, so let's just put our thread back on our needle, and then let's go right back through, because I really want to make sure that this trim is coming through nice. So we just one side and then the other. That is the joy of these giant needles, is that they, you just started your first journal, hooray! You're gonna be hooked. You're going to be hooked because there are no rules and the possibilities are just endless with journal making. I've always loved books and making books long before I knew what a junk journal was, and what a great outlet it has been for those things. Okay, oops. Make sure we don't have something we don't want, which we did. Okay, now we've got our thread going both ways through our needle. Hey, Carol, how are you, my friend? And so now we're going to just tie it back here real tight, and we will have a nice button closure, and then we can go on with like our doily attachment. I got you hooked. Well, I don't know if I should say, I don't know what I should say. Half of me is sorry, because now you're hooked like the rest of us. Okay, when I'm done here and I set this to dry, I will put a little dot of fabric tack on here. just for safety's sake. Okay. And now we have our big giant green button, and then we'll just tie these off, and that will be our how we hold our book closed. And I'm going to leave these super long. Oh, good. That's how crafting is supposed to be, right? Oh, it's upside down. There you go. So now I'm going to leave these super long for now. After we get all done with this book, it's going to be thicker. And I just want to make sure that we have plenty of room. So that gives us that. And now we can judge based on this where we might want to mount our little doily. And very much like the other one, I want to use the doily to help attach this. Okay, so it's not quite so floppy. You could come around with another piece of lace if you liked that to help cover and glue. But I think this will probably give us enough, especially if we're a little bit careful, just a little bit careful about where we put it. I also have some of the cool doily trims that we sold last time. I have a bundle of it I kept here. So these are handy dandy on my workspace currently and could use to be moved away. So I saved this, which I think would be absolutely beautiful, either this way or this way. What do you guys think about that? My big struggle with this one is I never can decide which side is up. I've showed you several times. This is one side, and you see all the stitching, which makes me think it's the top. But then if you look over here, it looks so nice and finished. I think that's the top. What do you think? Because then we could glue really good right here. And just like the other book, we would have large panels to glue and hold that down in the back. I'm kind of sold on that. Could you guys be sold on that idea? I don't know. All right, we're down to our last few minutes. A reminder that Miss Angie, our Rustic Daisy and our fearless leader in the Crafty Bunch, is up next. And I can guarantee you she'll be up to something delightful. Yeah, I really like that. Do you guys like that? I really like that. I love this particular piece here. Good, thank you. You guys, I need all the help I can get when it comes to decision making. That's why these things wind up sitting so long, or part of the reason. Okay, so let's decide where we want it and kind of get it in place there. Yeah, like that. And then that gets us just the little hint of this on the front, and then we have a lot of gluing room on the back, which I really like. Back to the old Fabri-Tac. Same thing, I'm going to glue on my crocheted piece so that I know I'm getting the glue where there's something for it to stick to. Okay, so just fold it over, and then you can be pretty generous and it won't blob out too bad. And then you can place it exactly where you'd like to have it and press it into your fabric. Okay. You guys, I'm feeling pretty excited about this. We have accomplished really three things off my table that we can move. Thank you, Chris. That's so sweet. Okay, now we just come this way and flip it over, right? And now we're just going to apply glue here on the flowered pieces. Okay, and then I'm going to get those down so I keep everything where I want it, and I'm in a little bit of control. All right. I have not tried Aleene's fabric glue. My only, you guys know, I use Fabri-Tac, but I'm not a huge fan of it. But I use it because it's permanent. Okay, I'm just gonna trim these little strings off just to kind of even things up. Okay. And always check if you're going to use a fabric glue. A whole lot of them are formulated to be temporary, to only hold your fabric until you sew it with the sewing machine. And tacky, I don't know about that, Aleene's, but that is the difference between Fabri-Tac and most other fabric glues, is that Fabri-Tac is a permanent adhesive. So when it's completely cured, which takes somewhere around 24 hours, it's as firm as if you had sewed it. And that's one of the big pluses to using Fabri-Tac. So just check it to be sure that it says it's a permanent fabric adhesive, unless you intend to use it as like a bias or a, I'm gonna put a little bit of glue underneath my green ribbon right there and hold it down and hold that down too. Get it all straight. And that way you'll have it, if you're just using it to tack down until you sew later, then any of them are fine. But most of the ones I've seen are not labeled as permanent. And that's why I keep coming back to the old Fabri-Tac. Even though I'm not fond of the smell and it's hard on my fingers. Hey, Deborah, how are you? Okay, look at that. I love this. Now, I still think, because we put a lot of effort into this book already, and we're going to put some more in. There may be some more to come on this cover, but I am feeling very much in love. Oh, from Northern Ireland. Thank you for being here. Okay, and like I said, we're going to leave those really long for now because we don't know how big this book is going to get. Do you love it? I love that. I love it. Okay, guys, my time is about up for today. The Crafty Bunch is on again tomorrow afternoon. If you get a chance to watch them, that'd be great. I would be there, but we have a thing going on tomorrow. So I don't know that I'll see you tomorrow. I'll definitely see you Monday morning back with the Crafty Bunch. We're going to continue on with our little golden book mass make. And I'm excited about that because we can whip through those pretty quick. And then I don't even know what the rest of the week holds. Wonderful things. And then Friday is our Two Friends one-day event with me and Michelle at the Vintage Daisy, where we're going to be on all day. We're going to greet you guys together, and then we're going to tag team back and forth for an hour. We're going to have gifts every hour from whoever's on live. We'll do a gifting. And then, oh, if it's permanent, then I would probably love that. I will check it. And at the end of the day, we're going to exchange our journals. So we're going to make a friendship journal. So Michelle's pretty fabulous, and that's going to take some brain power on my part, but I am so excited about it. Okay, guys, hop over and watch Miss Angie at the at the Crafty Bunch by Rustic Daisies, and I will see you guys really soon. Thanks so much. Bye.